Good morning, Chris Mackowski from Emerging Civil War. Glad to be with you here on the Chancellorsville battlefield. It's May 1st, 2019, 156 years ago here at Chancellorsville. Combat erupted between the Army of Northern Virginia with about 60,000 men against the Army of the Potomac, rumbling into Central Virginia with 130-ish thousand men. They're going to be in two different sections, part of them back still in Fredericksburg acting as a decoy under John Sedgwick, but the main part of the Army coming with Fighting Joe Hooker down into Chancellorsville. Kind of has been my tradition over the past couple years. On each day of the Battle of Chancellorsville, I visit different parts of that day's battlefield. So I'm starting today on the May 1st battlefield, on a portion of the battlefield most people don't know about because it's my front yard. Right here on this ridge, once upon a time in 1863, E.P. Alexander had his artillery set up, and they were meeting the Union advance, which was coming out of that far tree line. The 12th Corps under Henry Slocum was leading the way, and he's making fine progress heading that way toward Fredericksburg, thinking everything is fine, and suddenly he gets smacked right on the nose by Confederate forces. Slocum reels back and then begins to use his superior numbers and power to push forward. The Confederates start to kind of scramble back, and that's when the order comes that changes the nature of the whole battle. Fighting Joe Hooker tells everybody to pull back to the Chancellorsville intersection. Slocum can't believe it. In fact, he tells Hooker's messenger, "You're a damn liar." That was Washington Roebling, by the way, the man who will eventually go on to help build the Brooklyn Bridge. Slocum will ride back to Chancellorsville and get orders directly from Hooker. And Hooker's like, no, we got this. And he calls Slocum to pull back. In doing so, that's going to uncover the right flank of the Federals who are up on the turnpike. And that's going to allow these Confederates to slide over, threaten their flank, and force them to return back to Chancellorsville as well. They're also under orders to withdraw. Causes all sorts of confusion among the Union Corps commanders, but Joe Hooker's supremely confident. He still thinks he's got the Confederates right where he wants them. Is that the decision that loses the Battle of Chancellorsville for Joe Hooker? Some say yes. I tend to think so, but he's going to make decisions on every single day of this battle to lose. He eventually will try to explain things away a little bit apocryphally and say Joe Hooker lost confidence in Joe Hooker. Whether that's true or not, he certainly makes decisions on each day of this battle to try to give it away, even as his own army struggling to stay in the fight, struggling to overcome the Army of Northern Virginia's assaults. The Army of the Potomac wants to stay in this. They've had a terrible winter. They've come back from its lowest point ever after the Battle of Fredericksburg and have now turned themselves into a trim fighting machine, and they are ready to take the fight to the Army of Northern Virginia. The commander is not going to let him. So I love the Battle of Chancellorsville. I know a lot of Gettysburg fans out there. Chancellorsville for me is a key battle to understand. You can't understand Gettysburg without understanding Chancellorsville. My good friend Chris White and I talk about that all the time. Great blog post at Emerging Civil War by Eric Wittenberg that explore that idea. But Chancellorsville is so important because this military situation is so interesting. You've got an undersized Army of Northern Virginia under Robert E. Lee. Stonewall Jackson gets accidentally wounded by his own men here. Joe Hooker's got this giant army he has rebuilt. So all sorts of interesting military facets. And of course the political environment surrounding this battle is Abraham Lincoln is looking for that general who's going to be able to finally get that victory that Lincoln needs. It's not going to be Hooker, and one reason is because of the decision he makes on May 1st. So we're going to explore other parts of the battlefield over the next couple days. I hope you'll join with me in these sort of spontaneous little YouTube clips. Glad to have you with us. I'm Chris Mackowski for Emerging Civil War.